Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me again today. The other time did not record, so I appreciate you coming back to be with me as I record this session. Okay, so what I'm wanting to do today is to go over the importance of Google Classroom and to kind of get you started on setting up your own class and getting started on doing some coursework in there for your students. With COVID, I think we have begun to understand just how important communication with students is. And there are all different kinds of ways to communicate with students, but I think these online platforms really do help us get the most bang for our buck when we have students that are out because of quarantine or just regular illness, or students who are out for a field trip. This really helps us communicate with our students. Now, I really like to use Google Classroom in school as well, even when students aren't absent. And I know that our school has been using Schoology, but I feel like Google Classroom really opens some doors. It's not just for academic classes, you can use it for clubs as well. So being respectful of your time, because I know you have sacrificed a little bit of your summer to be here with me today, let's go ahead and get started and look at some things that we are going to talk about today. So I'm just going to come down here and share my screen with you. And I want us to go to Google Slides. And what you will see here is a little just kind of preview of what we're going to do. Now, I've sent this out to you in email, and you can, at your convenience, go through it. But also, more importantly, I sent a little tutorial with some little snapshots of how to work Google Classroom in case you need a review. So today, Google Classroom, a tutorial. I think Google Classroom is an important communication tool because it syncs really well with our school's G Suite that we already use on a regular basis. So all the Google Docs and Google Forms that you're going to share with your students are right there. And because it's all part of the same company, there is no kind of syncing issues. I know sometimes on Schoology we have a hard time getting our documents to be where they want to be, where we need them to be for students to have easy access. So there's really no difficulty with that here since it's all part of the Google Suite. And because we are already familiar with Google, it really does have a quick turnaround time for how to learn how to use Google Classroom. Like I said before, this can work with both in-person and students at home. Or if you're absent, I didn't mention this, if you're ever absent, this is a really good way to communicate with your students the work that you want them to get done while you're gone. That way there's not a whole day missed. I know in the elementary classes when subs come in, they teach, but generally in high school, substitutes don't teach. Generally, they just kind of supervise students and make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do, but there's no teaching involved. And this is a way that you can actually still teach while you're not there. Another good thing that I really like about Google is that you can create one assignment and share it with multiple classes or with just a few students. So let's look at that just real quick. Let me come back over here. And let me see. I'm going to stop presenting that one. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share a different screen with you. And we're going to come here to, here we go. We're coming right here to this screen in Google Classroom. So you can see I did a kind of a run through the other day and tried to record. It didn't work out too well. So we're doing this again. So this is if you'll just follow along, this is on the tutorial that I sent as well. So let's talk very quickly about how to create your own Google Classroom. So if you will just click the plus button here on your screen, see your waffle is right here. And so this over here is what I like to call the hamburger. But if you will come over here and click the plus sign. So this gives you two choices: to join a class. So if our admin ever creates a class to share information, excuse me, with us on Google Classroom, this is where we would join. But we are going to create our own class. So we are going to name this, I'm going to abbreviate. We're going to say Professional Development 2. And you can create a class per class period, which is my favorite way to do it. I know my daughter in elementary school, her teacher is Miss Butterfield. So Miss Butterfield had, Miss Butterfield's Buckaroos on there. And so that was the name of their class. But I just keep it simple: Spanish 2 first period, AP Spanish second period, etc. And I really never fill out much about these down here. Once you click create, then you will notice that it'll take just a minute for it to create your class. And then once it's created, we're going to kind of explore what we can do here. Now, what you see, this is a banner. This is called the banner, and you can customize it with photographs or things that you find online. We're not going to worry too much about that today. That's a fun little extra you can do. But we're going to spend most of our time talking about Stream and classwork, because honestly, that's where you'll spend a lot of your time. So let's talk about, before we talk about Stream and classwork, let's talk about how to get people enrolled in your class. So there are several ways to do that. You can click on people, and you can see down here it says invite students, and there's a hyperlink. And when you do that, it pulls up a thing here where you can type in a name or email, so you can add students that way by email. Randomly, if you just want to start over here in grades, it also gives you an opportunity to invite students. I think the easiest way to invite students, besides sending them an email, is to show them the class code. So you can copy it and send it via email. You can reset it. Sometimes, you know, the L's and the I's and the 1's get kind of confusing. So if you have one that's like 1LL, I, 1IL, that's too confusing. You can reset the class code, or you can display it, put it up on the screen in the classroom, and here you go. All right. So the students log into Google Classroom on their waffle, and then they click join a class like I showed you, and then they put in this information here. And then they're in. And once all of your students join, you come back here and click on people, and you can see them all listed here. So I'm going to invite my daughter. She's always my guinea pig. There she is. All right. And so we will just send her an invitation. She'll think that's funny when Mom, why did you invite me to this Google Classroom? But when she joins, there she'll be. And it will have her school email address there as well. And when she completes an assignment and we open up grades, there will be a grade book with her name and all of my students' names there. Okay, but let's go back to Stream now. And you can notice here on the Stream, there's the Google Meet. So if you wanted to meet with your students, if you're ever out and you need to meet. And then once we create an assignment, we'll come back and review this. And you'll see that this area of your screen will actually have due dates of upcoming assignments. So students never have an excuse on, well, I didn't know it was due, because it will tell them here that it's due. All right, so if you want to say hi and welcome to my class, whoops, you can post that, and you can post it to this class or any of the other classes that you have set up. And down here, you can choose to schedule it to post at a different time. So if I wanted to post it on Monday, since this is the weekend, I could schedule it to do then. Okay. And that is a nice feature. Okay, coming over here to classwork. This is the bread and butter. This is where I like to spend the majority of my time. So what you can do here to create classwork is you press the plus button, and it gives you several options here. You can create an assignment, you can give a quiz, you can put material. This is where you can put notes, vocab lists, any kind of tutorial that you've created, you would put that here. Okay, so I think what we will do right now is we will come to assignment, and we will say practice assignment. And then we will give some instructions. We will say, please fill out the form. All right. And I don't have a form. I have a couple of things. If I've already pre-created a form, I can go here to my drive, or I can press this plus button here, create, and let's do a Google form. Okay, let this load for a second. I remember the old days of the internet and everything took forever, and now if something takes more than 5 seconds, I get impatient. Okay, so our form is going to be titled, well, goodness. Our form is going to be titled Practice. Okay. And I'm going to say select yes or no. And we're just going to be silly with this, and we're going to go with select yes and no. And that is going to be our Google form. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we X out of that, and our form is here. And we are going to assign it to our students in this professional development course and the students in my other professional development course. Okay, and then that's too much. 100 points is too much for a one question little survey there. So we are going to assign it 10 points. We're going to make it have a due date of the 21st. My administration always likes us to have 11:59 as the turn-in. I think students need to sleep more than that, but that's what the admin says. And they're the boss, so we'll go there. Okay, so we're going to assign, or we can click this drop down and we can schedule it to assign at a different time. So let's say you're feeling very proactive and you want to create all of your assignments for the next 2 weeks. You can go ahead and get all of that done now and schedule it to post at a later time. But I'm going to go ahead and assign it now. Okay. And what that is going to do for us is you will see it now listed in the classwork, practice assignment. If I click on it, it's going to tell me that 0 students have been assigned because we don't have any students in the class yet, and 0 students have turned it in. But if I have 18 students in the class, when this first goes out, this will say 18 and 0. But then once maybe say 5 students have turned it in, this turned in will say 5, and this will say 13. So you can keep track of who's turned it in and who hasn't. All right, let's come back to stream. Now you can see that it's posted here. You can see that we have an upcoming assignment. Okay, so that's really all there is to it. So Google Classroom is a pretty easy way to connect with your students. And I'm going to stop sharing this tab, and we are going to come back over here. So it's a pretty easy way to share with like I said, your students, with your colleagues. You can let them join as well. And hopefully this will enable you to have an easier 2022-2023 school year. So in just a moment, we're going to play our Kahoot review. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me at jgandy@shelbyed.org. Thanks for attending. I appreciate it.